have a favorite song to bring Rick up with, or do you bring him up with the same one every time?
Nothing but a good time.
No, nothing but it's not hands down nothing but a good time. I'm trying to get him to do the congos. He won't do that congo solo he had promised.
Well, because he's so focused on those vocals, he's trying to do you right. Yeah.
And he gets the pose. The hand goes out. He's got the mic in the hand.
Down on the strip where the neon glows, there's a little shop everybody knows, where history's bought and treasures are sold. Gold and silver, stories untold. When the doors close and the lights dim low, Rick and Chum kick back, friends they get to know. Gold and silver by day, but at night, my friend, Pawn After Dark is where the stories and laughter never end.
Pawn After Dark hits the road for the first time ever. We are on a rock and roll tour with none other than the legendary Bret Michaels himself. How you doing?
I am great, my friends. How are you doing, Chum? Good to see you. And Rick, it's a big day. This is big doings on the road on your birthday.
Yes, on my birthday.
On your birthday, yeah.
29th birthday for the 32nd time.
It's perfect. And you don't look a day over 26, so it's working.
Yeah.
It's working for you.
I keep on telling myself that anyway, yeah.
So did you plan on summer coming this early when you planned this tour out here?
I'm going to tell you something. This is the funniest thing I can say. When we came here, we planned it for this time of year because it is amazing here this time of year. Yeah. You know what I mean? And again, splitting time between Southern California and Arizona, I'm used to the heat, but I grew up in a cold state and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not minding the awesome summer day.
Yeah, it's going to be approaching 90 next week, I think, or by the end of this week.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Definitely feeling it. I'm wishing for those nice March days that we usually have, but they're gone.
Yeah, I think it's disappeared today.
Bret, how you been? I mean, you're always on tour. How do you keep up?
So it is awesome being here with you guys, especially on your big birthday, and to be able to hang out. We got Dee Snider. He's born on the same exact day as me. You know what I mean? In March. And of course, I brought something along here I thought you had to see. I'll present this to camera. All right, you ready? Look at this. A bedazzled cake that I made for all of us. Look at this.
That's pretty amazing.
That is
Did
class.
you decorate that yourself?
That is class A shit right there. That is class A shit.
That looks good, but I don't think Rick's allowed to eat sweets right now. He's on a restriction from sweets.
All right, then you know
what? I'll have his. Don't worry.
Don't worry. You're gonna make up for it, right? Look at this. I want D to know he wasn't an afterthought at the bottom. But that is a pretty good. That's a pretty good birthday.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, it's sugar free for us that are diabetic in the crowd. For the diabetics amongst the three of us.
Yeah.
So, what is that like, living this rock and roll style life as a diabetic? Because you've been diabetic your whole life, correct?
Correct. So, I got diabetes basically when I was a young kid. I was 6 years old, 5 technically, but 6 when they figured it out. And there is no doubt that I am one of those people, definitely victorious or over being a victim, right? I'm grateful I get to do this, but one of the things, diabetes sometimes can creep up and kick your butt. It gets me sometimes, but you know what? I just I have a thing in here that keeps monitoring this thing all the time and checking my blood sugar, and technology has been amazing. But being on the road, it's tough because finding that balance of wanting to hang out, party, have a great time, a lot which we've had, and get up on that stage and give everything you got, and then once in a while it kicks your butt.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty tough. I mean, it's very admirable. I admire that. You know, you're able to fight through it and still live this amazing rock star lifestyle. And
thank you.
And you've been a rock star for a long time.
That is the truth. And go ahead.
I mean, you've been a rock star since the 70s.
Right. I wish I could take it back to even to the 60s. That would have been our love of the Beatles. I'm just throwing it out there. And but yeah, I mean, doing this, it started out in the basement, right? So in Pennsylvania, where I grew up, all of our friends would get together, and come wintertime, everyone always says a garage band, but if you grew up where it's cold, there's no playing in the garage. You're down in the basement, with the little heater, and hoping the sump pump doesn't kick off on you so you're not flooded, about 2 inches of water on the old indoor-outdoor carpeting. You remember it got nice and moldy, so that helped make it a nice smell in the area, you know. And but it started then, and my love of what we're getting to do has been amazing. And this many years later, the great fans and everybody, it's a good day.
So you obviously had an amazing career. I mean, Poison, legendary band.
Thank you.
And now you're doing a tour with like a group of friends, people that I imagine you're very close to.
Right.
Where did that idea come from? How much do you like it? How much do you hate it? Let's get the scoop on this.
Here's the real scoop. So I am beyond grateful for Poison. We started out together. It's been amazing. I wouldn't be here without Ricky and Bobby and Cece, right? But the truth of the matter is, being out on the road probably since about 2010 has mostly for me been the solo band. And we go out there and all of us are great friends. We grew up together. And they're fans of Poison. You know what I mean? There's no funk, no animosity. And I go out there and get to do what I love, which is play music and rip it up and enjoy every second of it. We play a lot of the Poison songs in our set, and we make it amazing.
Yeah. How many tours are you doing a year? Is it different every year? Or?
Here's how it works. If I go out on the road, obviously in the summer, Memorial Day on through till about maybe the end of September, that's like 4 or 5 shows a week, right? You're doing all the amphitheaters, the arenas. When you get out on the road and you're doing, let me say this, come wintertime, I still love to play music. Again, I played as a passion, not a business. And although I love the business of it, and you have to be an entrepreneur to do it, it's being out there and loving what you do, and then you find a way to make the rest of it great, right? And those you pick out the weekends. It's you pick out the Thursday through Sundays.
Yeah, I know, because you probably do 50 dates a year?
More than that. Like last year, and you know what I'm about to say, there's not just the shows themselves, all the private events, and then you do speaking engagements and all that stuff. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to do this lifestyle, you go into it the way we do, 1,000%, because if you don't, it will beat you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself struggling to balance personal, professional, health, rest?
You know what it is for me, and I say this with Christy and our 2 daughters. First of all, you're trying to find that balance between this incredibly, let me use this right, incredibly great personal life. You're mixing that on the road, and luckily they all, with me, we all understand the ebb and flow of it, and then you mix that with your health, and no matter what you say, finding that balance is tough. I haven't completely found it yet. You'd think 40 years into it, you'd think I'd know my shit, but I don't have it quite together.
No, I totally get it, because there is no exact balance.
None.
You just gotta
It's an ebb and flow.
Yeah, you just gotta
ebb and flow.
That should be the name of a song.
I'm working. You know what? I'm gonna write it and put it on this cake.
Speaking of songs, I mean, let's take the cat out of the bag. What's it like singing on stage with Rick? Do you ever get jealous of his amazing voice?
You know I do. I'll tell you, there's 2 things I was jealous of. So we're playing at the stadium, and by the way, I'm wearing half the cake on my clothes now.
It's a birthday. It's
supposed to be a party. When we came out, and I think it was in Las Vegas, right, at the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. You killed it. Everyone was having fun. You guys killed it, going nuts. But you know what? It wasn't just his amazing voice or the Congo solo, but when he whipped out the assless chaps and did that David Lee Roth, he did that split on stage in front of the audience. That was it. It was hands down. He stole the show.
So can we get a little like "Talk to Me Dirty" solo right now?
Yeah.
And congos.
Yeah. God, I'm trying to think of the intro. I know. You look so
help.
good.
Yeah.
I can't think of the words right now. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You're putting him on the spot.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You know what, dude?
He does good on stage when that mic's turned down.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I had the pleasure of watching it. It was a beautiful thing.
Should have continued to enjoy it out there with us. It was awesome.
He turns my mic down a lot.
Yeah,
I really love it. Because everybody wants to be a rock star. I mean, you're living the dream. Everybody wants to be a rock star.
Tonight will be another example. Just going up there and having, you know what it is too. I think for myself, I look out there, and I don't know if this happens to you, but it's almost a gratitude. Like I look out there, and I'm a fan of music, so I'm watching 3 generations now, 4 generations of fans whipping it up out there, having a great time, and it goes into this high energy frenzy because we start to party long before the show starts. We got the music jamming, fans coming in. We have people doing a meet and greet with everyone when they're walking in, and I just want to treat people with absolute gratitude and appreciation.
Yeah, well, there's something about music because, like, we're human beings are the only. I mean, you can watch a movie maybe one or two. His favorite movie, you might watch it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You know, but like, there's something about music you just listen over and over again, and it literally, the endorphins going in your brain. It just it takes you back. I mean, like the song, it takes you back to that
Touches the
special
soul,
place.
yeah.
Right.
Goes
Yeah, and
deep.
there's just something about music that's 100%. I don't know the
It's
exact
primitive.
term, but there's no scientific explanation to it. But it
Right.
does something inside you, inside your brain.
Correct.
Because you can listen to an old song you've listened to 20, 30 times, and then you just get immensely happy from listening to it.
Absolutely. First of all, you touched on one thing. It's an endorphin. It's a primitive, sound music, right? And there's something about it that when I say it's therapeutic to me, it heals me. Like when I'm having a bad day, music is healing to me. It brings me up. When I want to work out, it puts me in a kick-ass mode, right?
Yeah, you got that song for every situation, right?
Think about this. It is the only true art form that there is something, a lyric and a riff, a music riff for any situation you're going through, whether it's in the course of a day or whether it's the course of your entire year. Music touches somewhere in your soul. I'm in a great mood, I put it on. When I get bummed out, there's something that either I relate to, that someone else is going through, a pain, or it lifts me up out of somewhere. You know what I mean? No matter what that is.
Yeah, I'm a little strange. When I want to get lifted up, I listen to sad music, and it makes me really, really happy.
So no Christmas songs for us?
No.
Okay.
I think that comes from years of abuse from my boss.
I'm not going to say anything. Allegedly, I've heard rumor.
Yeah. No, but there's a little bit. I mean, it's always fascinated me because, like, there's no science. I mean, because I'm a nerd guy. I read science books. I read history books.
So Bret,
Very knowledgeable.
very knowledgeable.
Very
I
knowledgeable.
give him that. He's
Extremely.
probably the most knowledgeable person. I love talking to him.
Right.
I love picking his brain. Sometimes I just message him random stuff to see if he can answer it.
And he
sends
does.
me the message right back. The other day I messaged him, "What's a pig in a poke?" 2 minutes later, I got the whole
breakdown.
where it came from, everything. So
This originally started in Roanoke, Virginia.
So looking back at the beginning, is there like maybe a defining moment that led you in the direction that you've been able to take your career over this, last 40 years?
Absolutely. So there's a couple of them. There's a couple crossroads in my life. One of the most influential crossroads is, again, my mentality is always be victorious over being a victim, right?
Yeah.
And I said, you're going to have to find your way, face the adversity, and remain unbroken through stuff. And one thing that happened to me, 16 years old, and I'm working as a maintenance man at the Villa Leo Resort. That's what I'm doing. Maintenance, VOTEC, trying to finish school, not real successfully at the time, right? But very driven. And I'll never forget this ever. Sitting in the parking lot before I went to work. And this is as true as it gets. I'm in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, technically Harrisburg, right? Central PA, my dad's in the Navy. Everyone's working. My mom and dad are going through a tough divorce at the time, and I have 2 younger sisters. And I'm sitting there in my car, and I'm going in to buy a 5-prong mic stand. That was my, I wanted to spin the thing so it looked cool at the bar of 11 people we were playing for that night, And before I went to work, and they would not let me in. I was going to Radio Shack. And the guy, I kept showing him I got the money. I think he thought I was robbing the place. Because it was before it opened. I kept knocking on the door. I'm like, I got to go to work. And the guy's like, finally I showed him the money. Went in and got it. But I'll never forget this first defining moment. Sitting in my car with my work boots on and looking at them kind of out of my door. and a bunch of cigarette butts in the slush snow. You know, it's like slushy dirt snow. My work boots are in it, steel tip, and I'll never forget looking down, and I said, I'm grateful, but I'm packing up my stuff, everything I got, everything I own, and I'm going to give it everything I got, not to be the world's, not that there's anything wrong with being in a cover band, but I said, right now, Robert Plant is the best Robert Plant there is.
Yeah.
Steven Tyler is the best Steven Tyler. The Beatles are the best Beatles. Let me go be the best Bret Michaels I can be, right? And so I packed everything up and moved to
How old are you at this time?
This is 16. 17, I was driving to California in a van.
So did you have a fear of failure, or were you just overcoming that?
So my biggest thing, my comment is always, I never fear failure. I always fear not trying. My biggest fear, I have tried, and trust me, I have tried and failed lots of times. There's a lot. I got 12 billion demos that will never see the light of day. You know what I mean? That I thought late at night, you know, a couple beers, a little smoke up. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be the best song ever written. It turned out it wasn't in the morning.
Yeah.
Right? However, I just never fear failure ever. I fear not trying it. And then probably my biggest asset before I get to the second crossroad is my ability to, when everyone else starts to give up, you know, when everyone else is like, I'm beaten down, and they're beaten down by everything going on around them, and they start to give up, that's when mine kicks in the most. Like, the more they put me down, the angrier I get and the tougher I try to make it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's been a gift in the long run.
So it sounds like you thrive under pressure.
I thrive, and I don't want to, believe me, you don't want critics, but they're going to come, and when they came my way, I never let it beat me down.
Yeah. That's a good, that's kind of some good advice to anyone trying to make it in the music industry as well.
Any industry. Look at you all. You guys have one of the most successful, I want to say, partnerships, shows, and I mean this for real. You didn't get there by accident. You could say, oh, we had a lucky break, or that's not.
Yeah, a little luck was involved, but yeah.
Always luck got to
Yeah.
be. There's always a touch of luck, but you got there because you knew what you were doing.
Layers of hard
Worked
work
hard.
to get 16 years of what we do.
16
and,
years.
You know, you have 40 years of it, so I can imagine the layers are piled up a lot more than I've had to put.
I'm going to use that. Layers is right. Is that right? I got that right?
Yeah.
And that second crossroad that came for me, I'll never forget this. First album is an independent record. If anyone owned Look What the Cat Dragged In, whether it was cassette or they owned the album, right? Not CD just yet, close to it. Our signing day for Poison was shrink wrapping our records in El Segundo, California.
Oh, yeah.
Setting on the floor like I'm sitting now. Not quite as much cake on me, but setting on the floor, right? Shrink wrapping records, they had back then these things called 1x1s. You know, the album came and then the store would put up a 1x1 you slid into the album that the store would advertise with. We were our own record label, Sinai Music, going through Enigma Records, which was also independent. And it turned out to be probably the best thing that ever happened to our band. Here's why. No one wanted our publishing. No one wanted the songs. No one thought Talk Dirty to Me, Every Rose, any of those were a hit. So we got to keep all that, and as you all know, that didn't suck.
No.
When it finally hit, it was
sure,
been a good day.
Then, people weren't really thinking like, it would be great to own my masters, right? You're just like, I'm going to be a rock star. I'll make plenty of hits, but I'm sure owning that stuff allows so much more freedom throughout the rest of your career.
Forever, and you're in control of it. So those songs are like your kids, and you could have control on that. And then all of a sudden, you said it perfectly. It's so hard to explain to everybody how many moving parts go on in any kind of business, right? Especially rock and roll or music. From touring to doing this to interviews to making everything work in tandem, orchestra. And then all of a sudden, sound check today. Us trying to do this. Yeah. They're sound checking. We're sound checking, trying to find a gap on your birthday.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get in and do it. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, we're not, that's going to, you work with everybody to get in here and make this interview work. And then at the same time, taking care of the fans. all these things happening, and at the end of it, you know, when my blessing comes, the payoff is running out on that stage, and that first, you know, those first chords, that's a good day.
Yeah, you see the fans go crazy.
Right.
Just light it up.
Light it up. And I'll tell you another thing too. I said the best thing that happened to me early in my career is, and this is no lie, I got to play Texas Stadium, right? So here we are. There's a video called I Won't Forget You. So we're out, our first record, our first independent album hits huge, breaks. No one's ever sold with it. True fact. We were the first independent band to sell 3 million records.
Wow.
Most independent bands, no lie, you know, if you got 40,000 records sold, that was a ridiculous touchdown, right? But it was Talk Dirty to Me, you know, I Want Action, I Won't Forget You. It just luck. MTV just happened to hit right at the same time.
Perfect storm.
And we put in $5,000 to do our first music video. It wasn't even enough to get a studio. The main director never showed up. He sent a
Who
couple of
directed?
people, us and the 2 DPs, which were great. So thank you for good. But I'm saying the 2 DPs came down, the directors of photography, and we just said we don't know what we're doing. And if you watch that video, it's chaos, and it ended up being a hit because of the rawness. But going back to the humble factor, we played Texas Stadium. You watch I Won't Forget You video, and here's 83,000 people sold out. You got Steven Tyler and Aerosmith were opening for them, and you got the guys from Boston, Whitesnake, watching. You see them on the side. Paul Stanley from Kiss is there and comes on stage and starts playing with us, right? And we are rocking the biggest, best party ever. Like Almost Famous, there was a fountain. It was a fake fountain. I can't make this shit up. The bottom of it was painted, so it looked like it was like 4 feet deep. It was this deep. I did one of those, I am the, you know, rock and roll, and I did the dive. It didn't pan out well at all. It hurt, and I faked it. You know what I mean? I was a
Fake
little
it till you
numb.
make it, baby.
I got up. I'm like, no, that's great. I got out of that thing. It was like this deep. They laugh about it all the time because they're like, don't, and I dove, and it was like this deep, and it looked like it was like literally 4 feet deep, right?
Yeah.
After the show, the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. I felt great. Never. I want to go on record. As you see, I treat fans with respect. I love people.
Yeah, I've seen it in action.
Thank you, and I'm grateful. But I'll tell you one thing. You feel this unbelievable, like you said, endorphin and power. And we all got into tour buses and we went and drove. I think we're going to Albuquerque, and it was Carl's Corner or Carlson's Corner truck stop. We pull in, and like Bob Seger's song, you know, you come into the restaurant strung out from the road. You feel the eyes upon you. You're shaking off the cold. I relate to that. You went in there. There wasn't a soul in that truck stop that gave a rat's ass. That we
good.
just. I'm not talking about. This is like 3 hours earlier. 83,000 people.
Yeah.
And that balance is the best thing. I realized. Do music for the right reason. Do it because you love the music and the fans and your family, and let it. But don't ever get your head up your ass.
Well, I know you're the hardest working guy in show business because this is probably like 12 years ago. You were playing downtown Las Vegas. I go up to give you a hug and you go, dude, I just had kidney surgery 3 days ago. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I was like,
I remember. I had kidney surgery. They called it. Let me tell you one thing. I'll make you laugh. I went back there being diabetic. I'm not kidding. You got to watch the kidneys, right? Everyone does. But I got I never knew this was a word, a complicated kidney stone that got stuck.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you something.
I've got kidney stones.
It dropped me. I've never. Do you deal with it okay? Because it took
no,
me.
I thought I was going to die. I mean,
Thank
it was
you.
the worst pain I ever had in my life. I mean, I literally, when I got to the emergency room, just screaming, like, just anything, just knock me out.
I'm going to say thank you for saying that because I went in there and I said, I don't care what you give me. I'll give me a shot. I'll take it. I'll inject it myself. Any painkiller they had, I was crawling like.
Because it's like a knife in your back, and they just keep on twisting it. It's like the best way I can explain it is like You ever get your like finger caught closed in a car door?
Of course.
That shocking pain. But the pain doesn't go away. It just stays there. Yeah.
It never went down.
Yeah.
Like as long as it's there, I was like, I don't know, and I didn't. You're gonna laugh. I didn't know what it was. Like I thought my kidneys were failing. I never had one before that, and then they did the surgery. I think it was a lithotripsy, or so they have a surgery. They either go up and get it. I don't want to go into this, but I will for a minute. And people that have been through it know this, or they can bust it apart. And they busted it apart, and it was. Let me tell you something. Thank you. I'm going to shake your hand right now. Thank you for saying that, because when I tried to tell certain people who never had it, I said, you have no idea.
It is.
It's not fun.
I mean,
Don't
I've
get a
talked to
kidney
women
stone.
who have had kidney stones, and they say it's as bad as
Right.
childbirth.
That's a perfect comparison.
You know, but
Right,
I've
that's
had
what-
like a dozen kidney stones in my life, and every time it's like, it's brutal.
All right, so Brett,
Yes, sir.
you're playing this massive stadium in Texas. I think
Right.
you said 83,000 people.
Texas Stadium.
I imagine shortly before that you were playing like bars and small clubs.
We played, when I say to
What was
this,
the feeling to like go into this craziness?
so here's the thing. For me, from that day to this day, I still like to go back and play great bars sometimes. Like no matter where we play. You know what I mean? And I love it. I go out there and try to remove the business of music out of my head. You know, because you got to play here and stay at this level. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go. A friend of mine owns a great bar in Chicago. We're going to go kick ass, and then the next night we'll play at Wrigley or wherever,
Yeah.
right? And I just want to go on record to say that I give the same energy, same exact energy, if I play a venue. If I played in here for us right now and we were rocking, it would be the same feeling and upbeat energy as a stadium. But the stadium just gives you, or an arena, it gives me a chance to just cut loose and run a lot further,
Yeah.
do a lot more, have a great time, a lot more pyro, but never lose the music. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I told our band, never lose. The first thing we got to do is sound check, play great, sound great. We don't have any tracks, so we're just live music.
So when I watch you, I noticed you are making love to the fans with those beautiful blue eyes. Do you find
Right.
it easier, like a little more intimate in the smaller crowd?
No, it's the
I'm
same
juicing you up,
love-making
baby.
technique. It's-
I mean, I just see you like you're making eye contact with the fans. You're like acknowledging them. It's
Because
awesome.
I love them.
Yeah,
I love them. It's great.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
When it's closer, you're just making love a little close. It's a little more
with your
intimate.
breath.
A little more intimate.
You gotta make sure you have some
Yeah.
mint in there.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
All right, this is what I want to know. Like,
Go ahead.
okay, when you did the whole Rock of Love.
All right.
there we go.
Yeah. So,
Talk
did
about.
they approach you, or did you come up with the idea?
All right. Here's the Rock of Love story. This is true as it gets. They have this idea for a show. You know, Rock of Love, and they talk to me. They say, "You're the guy to do it, right? You're at the time single." You know, again, in a great relationship, but I'm saying it at that point was single, right? And I said, well, you know, let me come up with some ideas. One thing I asked him on Rock of Love before we went in to do it. Don't laugh at me. I had a piece of paper I wrote everything on, and I threw it out on the table at this big meeting. Everyone's sitting there, and I don't know how to be anything different than who I am. I don't know how to think it through to approach it. I'm just like, here's my thoughts, and they called it my hillbilly hard drive. You know what I mean? They're like, well, you're pulling out a piece of, you know, they have all everything up.
Yeah.
It's technical, and I got a piece of paper. I'm pulling it out of my pocket, and I said, as long as we have fun, and you let me be who I am, let everything be mine. The cars, the motorcycles, the fun. We went and raced dirt bikes, played mud football. You know what I mean? I said, the only thing I ask is don't do it at my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case it got a little crazy. But I got to tell you, that was crazy fun. But the girls, I want to go on record, the girls were the rock stars.
Yeah.
They made that
I wasn't
show.
watching for you.
I'm very aware. I don't know that anyone was watching for me. I was just needed to go through they're like, throw him in there. But the girls were the rock stars of that show. And I told them that. I said, You made this show incredible, fun. But what helped that first night, I was nervous because I'd never done this kind of reality TV. And I drove in on my Harley. I said, I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to go good. And threw my helmet off. We went into the house and served lots of alcohol. Everyone was, of course, there to have a great time. And that show, the first season was supposed to be like 6 or 8. You know, their networks are always really worried if it tanks. They didn't want to sign you for, 16 shows for a season or 12. And they had 6 shows slated. And the first night, we didn't get halfway through the craziness of it. If you ever watched the first night, first episode, season 1, they came in that night while we were all hammered, and they sat down with me and said, just take a breath. We want to take another 6 shows. We think this is going to be awesome. And
it spawned some other ones too. Have you ever made Flavor of Flav? Because he did the.
Oh yeah, Flavor Flav is a friend, and his show was amazing. And then we did Life as I Know It with my family. I did Rock My RV. All these different productions that we spawned.
I'm thinking of a show maybe like
The Chum of Love.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Bret and
I see it writes itself. Look, star wipe out.
I am a ladies' man. What can I say?
You are a ladies' man.
The Chum of Love.
Chum of Love.
Okay, or you could give relationship advice.
Let's go with Chum of Love.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We'll go with the Chum of Love because that sounds like it comes with a pretty decent paycheck.
It does. It's a good paycheck and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, how did you adjust to that? Doing reality TV for the first time, being in a house full of women who were basically competing for your attention.
So here's a great, the true answer. Like I said, the first couple times we filmed, I was really nervous. I'm not kidding you. Like I went in and I had a couple drinks. And we just let it rip. And what was great about it is they just let it fly. It was awesome. They just filmed. They had enough camera crew, and they were capturing what was going on over there, what was happening with me, what would happen on the dates that we went out on. And again, that it never had a dull moment. But what the best part of it was that I never let it get boring. What I can't do, as I said on a reality show, I can't act. We know situations we're going to do. Like I know a situation. So if we're going to go ride dirt bikes, they have to go, you have to go find a place to race. Yeah. Make sure we have a paramedic there, someone, an ambulance, stuff like that. But those girls, I pulled up on the bike, came flying up. We went up to Gorman. And that track is tough, And then what I didn't think through is at the end of the date, they were all so beat up that then whoever won, we went on a date, they could barely, no one could barely move. They're like, I don't feel great. I'm like, I didn't think this through,
Yeah, because contrary to what people think, reality TV, they try to create a situation, but in the end, it is kind of reality. There's no really script. You just got to do what you got to do.
You got, right.
You're always, on Pawn Stars, Chum is 100% spontaneously insults me the entire time.
I'm very aware. I'm a fan of the show. So
well, they edit all that out, but I do a good job of making sure the viewers of Pawn After Dark can see how much I roast you. But I'm giving you a lot of respect in front of Bret because I know he thinks highly of you.
It is the truth.
So
it is the truth.
Is there maybe
and
one...
it's his birthday. Come on,
that's even more.
You gotta go easy.
Is there maybe I know you're not a gossiper. Is there a little bit of juice you can give us? Maybe something that didn't make it that was a little wild or a little crazy or uncomfortable.
It was always. If you watch the show, they edited that down because remember, TV can only do so much. Yeah. By the time we got to the 3rd season, it was. I gotta be honest. It was ridiculously out of control.
People were trying to play up their characters.
Well, that happened, and they like, well, we want to take it up a notch, So now it was, and we were on the road, so it was the best hot mess show for dating, and I was just trying to trust me. At that point, I was along for a good ride.
So when they said, "Hey, Bret, we want to take it up a notch," you said. Yeah, I think you're going to have to call Flavor Flav.
I did. I did not give up. Remember, I'm not a victim. I stood up there and I stood my ground.
Yeah, and that was back at a time when reality was popular, but it was still kind of finding its way, right?
Completely. It was we were and what you were allowed to do, not allowed to do, and and it was a free for all. That's what it was. And the other thing I was going to tell you, you know, when you want dirt, I'll give you a funny thing. So they asked one question: do you want us to edit the girls to only? This is true. Do you want us that there's nothing bad said? And I said no. That's failure, because that's not. If we're going to do reality, that's not real life.
Well, no, because you need that.
Thank you. And I go, so our very first night, I'm not kidding you, there was this girl, Lauren. I thought she was she was beautiful, smart, funny. And I could tell we're all partying, and every time I kind of got near her, I'm pretty empathic. I could pick up, I don't think she's into me, like on any level, right?
Yeah.
She didn't like the look, didn't, whatever it was. And I'm having a time of my life, right? Drinking, having a great time. I literally walk up to her and I say, now remember, they're filming all this. And I go, can I ask you a question? Or are you okay? You good? She goes, no, I don't know. I'm not really into this. And I said, oh, you're not into being here? She goes, and I'm like, maybe I should have edited that out. She goes, no, I'm not really into you. And I go, oh, okay. Well, I said, thank you. You made you made one of the eliminations easy for me tonight.
She created the first viral moment on
She
Rock and
wasn't.
Roll.
You know, sometimes they weren't actresses, so they weren't acting it out.
Yeah.
She's just like, no, I didn't know who was going to be the guy. And she goes, you're not really, you know what I mean? She goes,
She said, I thought
didn't
Chum
work.
was going to be the guy.
That's what she wanted. She wanted the chum.
I doubt it.
The
but,
chum
you know.
up. The chum stud muppet.
So you go from rock and roll legend to reality star, and obviously you're a rock and roll legend the whole time. You know.
Thank you.
Are you touring in between seasons, or what's going on in between seasons? Are
Yeah,
you
no, we're
relaxing?
touring right on it too. We take the girls, go to the show. Some of the dates, we would fly into the show, do the show. So everything I've done in reality, I made sure to say to them, this is reality. My real life is touring.
Mm-hmm.
I can move a few things around or do stuff, but I just let it
And so
unfold.
no breaks, just all
No
gas.
breaks. No.
Right.
Just
So-
all gas. All
Right.
gas.
You got to give Rick your secret to youth. Like
He's
getting
got
a
it.
little-
Look at him.
I
mean,
am.
It's
All right. So I mean,
You gotta
all right,
get
so
me out of
storied
this.
rock star
You gotta
life,
get me
and you played with I mean, you've like collabed and played with a gazillion different artists. I mean, like, who was like when you were
Right.
young and like and you first played with like a big rock star or a big musician? I mean, who was like that awe moment? I can't believe I'm playing with this person.
So there's been, let me say this, I'm a fan of all styles of music, right? All styles of music. And I have so many people I admire, I look up to, I love their song. I think early in my career, so one of the biggest moments of my career, and this is in true Bret Michaels fashion, I'm like a comedy of errors that I survived through my own, I'm self-inflicted, right? So it's Jimmy Page and David Coverdale at Reno. The radio DJ, I'm going to get him on with you one time. He has to tell you, Max Powers has to tell you this story. We're all partying on Cece's birthday, right? All of us. Jimmy Page is the coolest guy, and I get a brand new Les Paul. And he's like, I'm going to play that. I'm not going to even imitate an English accent because it's horrible. He goes, I want to play that. He gets up there, and I'm like, I can't believe we're doing this. We're on Reno, sold out at Lawler Event Center. And Jimmy is going crazy, jamming, David's singing, and we have pyro. Then it's older school, so we have pyro pits. You know what I mean? This is like 90, 91-ish, Flesh and Blood. We have these big pits that the pyro shoots, and you know,
A lot safer.
yeah, not safe for anybody. But if you fall in it, it's like lava, right? And I see Jimmy heading. You know the one-legged, you know, he does the hop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, new guitar. And I'm like, in slow-mo, like a movie. No. Like I can't run from the other side of the stage fast enough, and in he goes. I look down in. Luckily, we killed the no pyro coming up. We get. Jimmy is such a badass dude. Crawls up. I see his hands coming out like the end of a famous final scene in a movie. Up comes his hands. I pull him back. My guitar's in half. I'm like, my guitar next. But Jimmy Page did it, so it's okay.
You still have it?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
we
man,
don't have.
that
Well,
would be-
yes, I mean, yeah, but I can't play. It's snapped.
No, but that's
I
an
will
awesome-
never.
that's an
It's in
awesome
its
keepsake,
case. I will
yeah.
show you one day.
Yeah.
In its case, snap the neck snap.
I
right.
mean, to have a guitar that Jimmy
Oh.
Page is like.
I will never get rid of that. So here's the truth. That was great. We pull him out. He comes up. We get him another guitar, and he just keeps on jamming. He was a man's man. He rocked, and then since then, it goes on and on from, you name it, from Paul Stanley, Steven Tyler, being up there with some of my rock and roll legends, Jimmy Buffett of all people. People can go on and look this up. Bret Michaels, Jimmy Buffett on YouTube. Probably one of the best nights ever. It was. We went up there and did Margaritaville.
That would have been his father's favorite performance of
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was a good day.
So
It was a
you
good
have
day.
such
May he
an-
rest in peace.
You have such an amazing stage presence. This is kind of a two-part question, I guess.
All right.
What goes into creating a set list to give your fans the experience? Do you do that? Do you work with a band? Does someone do that for you? And then
Right.
do you have a favorite song to perform at this point in your career?
So that's a great two-part question. Number one, I'm hands-on. I think I mean, I'm a hands-on and make sure, and it takes a village. So when I say that doesn't mean it's about control. It's got to start, and I say this is the songs I like to do in a set tonight. This is what I like to perform. I think if we switch this out, did this, someone's joining us on stage, we'll throw a song in, so we come up, play the congos. And I think that's amazing, right? And I think that for me, not only putting a set list together, but I need you all to know this, and all those people that love you and view this and listen, is that my passion for what I do and what I love to do is real as it gets. And that hands-on thing is just, I never want to lose that about myself. I don't want someone to tell me how you're going to look, how you're going to dress, what songs you're going to do. That's part of what being a raw artist is all about, right? And like I said, probably one of my favorite songs to do, end of the night, nothing but a good time. And don't get me wrong, every song is like my kids.
Yeah.
Something to believe in, honoring our veterans and hometown heroes. Every Rose Has Its Thorn, one of the biggest number one songs. So I like to play everything that I love and the fans love, and then I throw in something new or one song that breaks and fans can appreciate.
Do you have a favorite song to bring Rick up with, or do you bring him out with the same one every time?
Nothing but a good time.
No, nothing but it's not hands down nothing but a good time. I'm trying to get him to do the congos. He won't do that congo solo he had promised.
Well, because he's
Eventually-
so focused on those vocals, he's trying to do
It's
you
all
right. Yeah.
And he gets the pose. The hand goes out. He's got
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mic and the hand.
So
I
wait,
didn't jack
it's-
that up, did I? Hitting it.
oh, you're
Well,
fine.
good.
I mean,
Okay.
like singing and playing the bongos. I mean, it's like it's like skipping rope and chewing bubblegum. I can't do it.
I guess the question that everyone wants to know, because the dynamic duo, I mean, you guys have been friends for a while. How did you guys meet? And what was your first impression of Rick when you
You
met
go
him?
and then I'll go.
God, I think it was just like I wanted to meet you. I went to your.
You came to the show. I thought
Well,
that.
we did the show, yeah.
Was there like
and then
was
we
it
came
a
and
charity
it
thing?
started with the Life Rocks thing too, with the platinum record. I always tell people about that. We did that together where I brought down the records, and we were doing it for the charity event, and that was incredible.
No, we just started just hanging out, and then ended up becoming friends, and we eventually it just turned into every time he was in town, we'd hang out. And the joke is I'd always sing on stage with him, and he would turn the mic down a lot, and then
just a lot.
Yeah.
like when we were filming in
It's a zero.
Boston, someone goes Brett's in town. Well, Brett's in town. I gotta
Yeah.
And
That
next
was
thing you
it.
know, I'm singing on stage with Brett.
Yeah. So, do you ever do the chum trick on Rick when he's talking too much? You say, "Oh, hey Rick, my friend has a question for you," and then he's like,
All the time.
do the
But
42
it's-
shake.
Yeah, but it's useless. He just keeps saying, he sang right through it. He pushed me out of the way, pushed me right out of the way, went on stage. But that friendship is, it's weird with friendships. You meet somebody, and right away, you either get along and you want to hang out and have a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get on the phone. We've talked about a lot of things, road trips, life, all that stuff, and that's what makes for a real friendship. Those moments that bond you.
All right. Well, Brett, it's been amazing. I know
Thank
you're
you.
on a big tour, so we don't want to hold you too long. I feel like I got to know you a little bit better today. You're an awesome person, and I always say, you know, you judge a rock star or a famous person by how they treat their fans, and you treat your fans with respect.
Thank you.
Whenever I see you with your fans, I feel like I can sense how grateful you are to have them, and it's a pleasure hanging out with you. And don't let Rick get too crazy on stage tonight. I still got to make some money, so he has to keep those needs.
You know what's happening. We're going to let him go crazy. I won't let him get hurt. But I want to say to you, thank you for your awesome words. It's always great to see you and Rick. Always, man. It's a lifelong friendship now. Thanks for having me come in and hang out.
So how would Bret Michaels, in like one phrase, close this podcast out if he was screaming to the crowd?
I want to say this: we rock, you rock. Have nothing but a damn good time. Bow, bow, now, now. There it is.
This is Pawn After Dark.